Greetings and blessings on this first day of the new solar cycle, the year of 2026. My name is Linda Tucker and I'm the founder of the Global White Lion Protection Trust. It's been such an honor opening and doing the guiding prayer of 7 days of rest repeatedly over the past decade. Never more of an honor than upon this day, especially knowing the extraordinary stellar cosmic support that we are receiving at this very time in order to address and transform the core issue that has plagued our management, or should I say mismanagement, of this planet over the last decades, centuries, and probably much longer than that, through the ancient collapse of cultures who overextended humanity's governance of this planet to become one of greed and need, extraction, consumption, and destruction. We are changing that paradigm, and the cosmic alignments at this time are so profoundly in support of the transformation. Did you know that there has been part of a 40-day cycle where the sun has been balancing between the masculine and feminine principle, Mars and Venus, and this holding equidistant through the sacred dates of the new moon, the solstice, Christmas, and now into the new year continues until it culminates after these 7 days of rest with a stellium in which the sun, Venus, and Mars become one conjunction, indicating first of all the light of blessing for both these principles and then the unification of these principles in the peace plan, if we are truly prepared to envision this and embody this and enact this in the coming unprecedented year. Of course we are. In this select group of high intentionality, let us code this blessing and carry it with us into the future of humanity's destiny. I, in order to do so, would like to begin by honoring our founder lioness, Mara, the sacred feminine, if ever there was an incarnation of this, born as she was in Bethlehem on Christmas Day in the year 2000. I would also wish with equal profound revelation and reverence our founder masculine as lion, the lion of Bethlehem from a different lineage who joined her here in the Heartland. And with profound acknowledgement, I would wish to honor their granddaughter for the first time publicly in her capacity as the unified being who has spent the last 7 years, not 7 days, 7 years integrating the masculine and feminine within one physical, spiritual, somatic form, doing unimaginable healing work for our planet beyond the gender conflicts into the unified field of love, of cosmic love, and let this also be human love, for what a great service to humanity she has done. Nebu, Nebula, incarnating the power of Sekhmet, the lion-headed goddess, feminine force, but with a mane of the masculine, who defined for the ancient Egyptians end times and the birth of the golden age in first times. Nebu, I honor you and I thank you as you gift over your profound, profound work to humanity's field now, to take over the work, embody and action this now in every step we take. How do we know what steps to take once we are consciously balancing what has been such an impossible divide between the genders? Well, I'm going to take you into a project that is doing the work every day of our operations on the ground, in the heartland, in service of nature. And may this brief sharing be of great support to you, and may it really land the key message from nature, which is the fundamental difference between predation and consumerism. Predation, the laws of the ecosystem that predate any other system. It is that concept, that whole field of governance, that co-creative field with the creator of love, of light, of truth, united to create peace on earth, harmonious coexistence on earth as it is in heaven. It is that field that we need to return into once we have found that equilibrium. And so upon this opening day, I'm going to be, first of all, sharing from our camp here in the Heartlands what daily operations have brought me to an understanding. A very brief 4-minute presentation of what governance looks like in a project that is upholding the original principles of predation. So this following footage is not intended to depress us, but simply to remind us of the truth and the reality that we face at an end point of our consumerist model, which is one of taking, and dumping unconsciously in absolute separation from our planet, not recognizing that extraction, consumption, and destruction is the inevitable outcome. And yes, most of humanity is trapped within this model, and we have in different ways been caught up in it. Here I'm reflecting on the greatest sadness and tragedy of our times from my perspective. What I've personally witnessed and seen and opposed is the breeding of lions for human consumption, which was legalized by CITES in 2017. And fortunately, in our country, there is legislation now in place to dismantle this appalling end of the consumerist model when humans believe they can consume. The predator of an ecosystem, we really understand how far gone our model is. Let us move on from that, recognizing that if consumerism continues in its current form, it is a collapse of systems and ecosystems. However, we, in opening this 7 days of rest, intentionally recoding the sacred masculine and sacred feminine within ourselves and then within our mission to serve Earth, are changing the model. And here is one of my really great teachers carrying the ancient knowledge of Africa, who reminded me that predation is actually a contract of the souls, a gifting system between predator and prey, where the prey recognizes that they are part of one great prayer as they gift of their essence to the sacred apex animal, their species, shall be served in the rebalancing, such that all parties who are old or ill or are ready to ascend into the heavenly realms are released in this method. And then on earth, the golden balance restores in what is now known as trophic cascading, all the way down the flow through the ecosystem and all the way up again. If we can remember this and shift into a gifting, acknowledgement, recognizing what can we give back, whether we are masculine or feminine, or we have achieved that unified being that is no longer a polarity. What can we give back to the greater good of creation? Ideally, giving back to Mother Nature at this time. And that way, we are shifting the paradigm into the more beautiful world we all know is possible. We are at the turning of the Leo Aquarius age. Let us, work with the cosmic support we have at this time. We are working from ecosystem to human systems, and in our project, that is called ecocentric because it puts Earth first. That is the heart of the matter. When we do so, all becomes one coherent interbeing in service of the greater good of the whole. When we don't do so, we are in an egocentric model that falsely believes we are at the top of the system, that we are higher, that we are superior, that we are different, that we are other, that we are separate. That illness of separation and separatism that has caused all the woes in our world and allowed forces to play games with us that are not of positive intention. It is that egomania and that inflated ego or even deflated ego, rather than the echo in our hearts to remind us that we are one with creation. I will be doing a prayer, a blessing, a sacred practice with us to close that will encode this in our beings and our bodies. But let's see it in action in the ecosystem itself to help us prepare for that sacred practice. Fundamentally, we're looking at the difference between predation and consumerism. Fundamentally, we're recognizing that the one is a gifting system as opposed to a taking system. 3 guesses which is which. Predation. There's the model, and it's normally conceptualized as the lion at the top of the ecosystem in a consumerist model where the base of the pyramid are producers, and then it's the primary consumers and secondary consumers. It's just a consumerist conception. But what in reality is predation when you live in an ecosystem that is governed by these sacred beings? You come to see that at every moment a gifting takes place. Yes, the term predator is given a bad press by humans, but that's reflecting back our perception. You know, if someone's a predator, you feel that maybe children are in a danger of that individual. In fact, in the ecosystem, let's look at how predation really works. And the key is that word, predate. This is the divine system that predates the human model of consumerism. Let us see, here is a magnificent lion, Asagaya, and 3 guesses what has taken place behind him. You have the key, an hour or so before this photograph was taken. Well, yes, he's got a bit of blood on his nose, he's got a full belly. Yes, he made a kill. Now let's see what happens after the king has brought down his sustenance. You see the vultures gathering round, and they're actually cleaning up the remains of that system. And not only are they feasting, but they are the cleaning crew of the ecosystem, clearing, ensuring that no pandemic or disease can spread through the natural system. And if we move on and you see that other lions are coming in to feast, then behind the lions you see that actually there's another little predatory being, or actually he's a scavenger, and that's the jackals, who also flourish when the king takes down its prey. And they feed, but they also help clear and remove remains that could cause disease as well. Oh, and now we look at what is coming in now, and we noticed, didn't we think that giraffe are actually vegetarian? And yet here's a giraffe chewing on the bones that have been left after the kill, because giraffe need the calcium that is within the bones in order to ensure the strong structuring of their large skeletal frame. We move on and we see here's another scavenger coming in, and this amazing animal, the hyena, is able with its massively strong jaws to crunch up bones, not just suck on the bones like the giraffe, but actually crunch them up, moving the calcium through its system such that it deposits pure calcium back in its deposit. And guess who needs the calcium in order to build the house which it travels around in? This is just one being, the tortoise, who relies absolutely on this whole flow of life from the king's table all the way down, as it in turn, in its service, because each one of these beings is giving back, it relocates its seeds and food base, so it's often understood to be a landscape gardener and seed disposal practitioner. And then we follow on and see in the scat that remained after the king and queen's feast, there is waste, and yet in the ecosystem there's no such thing as waste. It is being rolled by the sacred scarab beetle, also known as the dung beetle, and then deposited in the ground in an inverse pyramid where it fertilizes the soils, and for the beetle itself, the eggs are deposited in this, and of course when the eggs hatch there's a wealth of feasting as the whole cycle continues again, and earth replenishes, restores, regenerates. So what we're looking at is a gifting system all the way down and all the way up the predation web of life. It goes so far as to recalibrating the waters, and that's a whole nother discussion, but the lions, as the apex, restore the waterways just in the same way that the wolves do the same in Yellowstone Park, and more. So we don't have time to go into it now, but just know that our lands for the lions, where there are 3 huge territories now, are restoring, maintaining and guarding 3 waterways that flow into the greater ecosystem and therefore serve all of creation. And they are wildlife corridors protecting all species, many of which are critically endangered. And in this way we see how nature replenishes itself. So come with me from the human context here in the human camp in the heart of the White Line, Heartlands, part of our head of operations, as we move out together into the ecosystem, into the realms where the lions truly govern at every moment. We'll go up to the place I call the tree house, which is a deck under an ancient tree and looks out over their ecosystem, so that we can conclude with a sacred practice together that shall unify the masculine and the feminine principle within us, that we might truly emerge from this turning point as unified beings in service of our planet. How wonderful is this? I was en route to the tree house to share a prayer with you, only to find that Ingwavuma and his brother standing up behind me, Jurasi, have met me on the road to the treehouse. Jurasi and his brother Ingwavuma settled comfortably in the dust path, fairly full-bellied. They've hunted recently, and all of the heartland is at peace. I can hear a sigh, and what a beautiful opportunity to share their message in the opening of the 7 days of rest. It's been an honor to open this highly intentional, intention-setting event annually over the past decade and more. Ngwavuma standing now. A big stretch, no doubt. And his teachings will support the message as we open this new year together. Thank you, thank you, thank you for greeting me on the road to the treehouse where I was preparing to open with a prayer for nature and our true natures. With all the upheaval we've seen, with the disruption, the imbalances that we've witnessed in a chaotic human world, how do we restore peace within our hearts and souls? And these 7 days become all the more critical for the encodings in the year ahead. Truly, our guidance comes from the echoing ecosystem, and to have Ingwavuma, whose name means the roar of the Creator, join us to echo that message into our hearts is exactly what I was intending to share with you. We have that echo forever with us when we are truly listening to our hearts. So if you can, at this moment, simply drop into your heart space and imagine breathing with your heart. You become aware of that double heartbeat. The first beat from heaven, the second echoing back from earth. For that is the ecosystem. The song of the stars, the reminder that we are part of a higher plan when we truly uphold the principles of this higher plan. And that is within our ambit, our orbit. We can find our way to that ancient contract that we are all contracted into. And it has simply been a separation from source, a sense of entitlement and a sense of otherness and superiority complex, which is based on an ego, very fragile ego, we might add, human perception that we are above and better than all the other representatives of creation. When we step down from our very fragile high platform and we start walking our way back to our true natures and our true humanity, then we find that we are capable of being humankind. Then we find that we have the true humane, the radiant auric mane of the true human who is walking the path back to the garden and the way of the divine human. I'd like, through our intention setting, to guide you back into this realm. But the very first thing to do is to breathe and give thanks for the breath of life. And as we breathe in the life from the great trees of life around us, here in the heartland, beyond the trees and beyond is an ancient mountain that is holding the water codes of the whole ecosystem. So as we breathe, we're expanding out to the great dragon mountains that enclose the white lion territories in harmonic and support. Breathe in the gold of this new dawn. And breathe out anything that is not serving harmonious coexistence, peace on earth, the golden coding of the new era. Breathe in the gold and release anything that is resisting the gold. Breathe in the gold of life, the new dawn of light, and release any fear, any anxiety, any imbalance, any despair, any disease, any self-doubt, any disenchantment, any disillusionment. I'm naming the heaviness that we hold in our codings. Simply let it go. Release it out into the ecosystem as we are breathing with the double heartbeat of our hearts. The first beating from the great heart of heaven, and the second echoing back from earth, which is a heavenly realm. Let us not forget that. And as you continue this double heartbeat, beating from your hearts, consciously releasing that which is heavy and dark, back with the out-breath, now recognize that when you work truly with the great heart, the golden heart, the one heart, the true heart, the unified heart, the lion heart, you are working with all of creation. And so as you do so, recognize that the golden heart is the great transformer. It can transform anything in this great oneness that is the golden coding. So instead of simply releasing that which does not hold the gold, make sure now as you release from your system any darkness, any heaviness, any resistance, sparkle it into gold before you release it into your surroundings. Use your heart as the great transformer, for that is truly the power that we hold within, united with the great heart of creation. And as you do so now, breathe in the gold and breathe out anything that is not of gold, sparkling it back into light before you release it into the ecosystem. Breathing in and out with that double heartbeat that marks time. Find that equilibrium, recognizing that the breath of life holds the codings of the stellar realms and sparkles the carbon into the great system where the great trees of life convert it into the oxygen, the flame of life. Therefore, we are truly part of the cycle of life when we gift back consciously to the ecosystem, gifting the breath of the carbon that is necessary for the conversion through the sun in photosynthesis back to oxygen that is necessary for the great flame of life that sparks life from the solar essence into the matter, mother. And we have come through the sacred cycle in the Heartlands. We do not only honor the great Christos presence in the sacred masculine form. We know that sacred nature cannot ultimately be harmed by humanity. And that was the great message of the ecosystem when Ingwavuma I was hunted down. And then a gestation period later, on Christmas Day, in a place called Bethlehem, in the year 2000, through an eclipse from the source star Sirius, sun, moon, earth, Sirius, came the birth of Mara, mother of the sun, her name given by Credo Mutwa, my great teacher. And so she reminded us that sacredness cannot be destroyed in nature. It can be honored, it can be protected, and we can return to it when we do the work. But ultimately, nature is creation. Nature is a reflection of the divine plan and our urgency of realignment through the great breath of life as we take our rest, and let us say as we honor our rest and prepare to walk the way back to nature and our true natures. As we do so, we honor the sacred masculine and the sacred feminine in perfect balance. One does not dominate the other. And in our ecosystem, in Gwavuma, the second who returned to Earth and who you've met, partners with a great white lion queen in equality as he honors her and she honors him. He is the grandson of Mara, who was born in Bethlehem on Christmas Day, through a lineage of golden lions that came from the ecosystem. She is the granddaughter of Mara, through a lineage of white lions, whose parents were removed from the ecosystem. Together they bring the future forward. And the same is taking place on the other lands. Whereas I'm speaking to you from the Heartland, north, south, east, and west, there are territories now protecting the white lions as they restore harmonious coexistence, peace on earth, echoing from the ecosystem out into the human systems. So breathe in the gold of life, and do not be afraid to breathe out your breath of existence in the 7 days of rest. For your reason for being here is purposeful. When you prepare yourself, you encode yourself to give back to creation as a steward on earth. What is yours to give back to nature? And I'd like to guide us through that from the lions themselves. We've been through this highly activated period, which includes the solstice, normally honoring the solar masculine, the solstice, as the solstice in June honors the solar feminine, Juno, and now moving into the honoring of the Christos essence, as we honor the sacred feminine simultaneously. It is that astrologically the sun was held in suspension between Venus and Mars over the past 2-week period, and with us as we usher in the 7 days of rest. It still holds this position exactly between Venus and Mars. Be profoundly aware of that as we continue this sharing together. And as we learn to give back more than we receive, amazingly, I am hearing the echoing of the lions, echoing into our prayer at this time. They are close and coming to hear what humanity is capable of, for they have felt our expanding hearts. Not one, but 2 are echoing now. You may not hear it. My device may not be fine enough to receive it, but they are echoing now as we are doing the work for creation. And what a joy it is to do so, as all of nature sees us, hears us, supports us, echoes the roar back at us. Beloved ones, now that we have filled our hearts to fulfillment and overflowing, now that we are giving back the breath of life more than we receive the gold, we return the golden breath of life. Let us prepare for the great gifting that is the greatest privilege of being alive at this time. Let us unite our golden hearts around the globe in doing this work collectively, individually, unitedly. The masculine in support of the feminine in support of the masculine, all in support of the miracle that is life. Blessings be, beloved ones, in the opening of this great year. This year of 2026 and this great year of the Leo Aquarius age, these times of turning, what a blessing it is to be alive in these times. This is Mara's legacy. 4 generations. The little white cub behind me is her great-great-great-grandchild.